Whispers from the Beyond. I grew up in New York, a big and busy city. My name is Anna. 20 years ago, I moved to Paris to open an art gallery. I loved art, and my gallery did very well, but I missed New York, my home. I decided to go back to New York to see my old home and feel the busy streets again. But first, I wanted to visit my friend, Elizabeth, in San Francisco. We were close friends in college, but didn't talk much now. Elizabeth loved old stories and magic. She read many books about these things. We used to write letters to each other, but she hadn't written back to me in a long time. I sent her a message when I got to San Francisco. I said, "I am here for 3 days. Can I visit you?" Elizabeth quickly replied, "Please come tonight. The door will be open. I will wait for you." That night it was very rainy and windy. I forgot that California can be cold and wet. Elizabeth's house was by the sea. It looked old and had a big tower. The garden around the house was beautiful but looked sad in the winter. I took a taxi to her house. When I got out of the taxi, I got very wet from the rain. I ran to the tower door and opened it. Inside, it was dark. I could only see a little bit with one small light on. I went up the stairs slowly. At the top, there was another door. I opened it and went inside. The room was a little bit brighter. Elizabeth came to say hello. She looked different. She was wearing long, old-fashioned clothes. She used to be very lively, but now she seemed quieter. Her hair was gray and she looked older. "Welcome, my friend," she said. "Please sit down." She gave me some wine to drink. We tried to talk like old times, but it was hard. Meeting an old friend after many years can make you feel a bit sad. Elizabeth looked worried. Suddenly, we heard a soft knocking sound. It was coming from the wall. Elizabeth looked at the wall and didn't say anything. I didn't know what to do. "Please stay," Elizabeth said when I stood up to leave. "I have a story to tell you. You're the only one I can tell." I decided to stay and listen to her story. It was going to be a long night. Elizabeth started talking about her life after college and the mysterious things she found in her studies. In San Francisco, I remembered Elizabeth's love for mysteries. She liked tarot cards and stars, thinking they could tell the future. We used to talk a lot about these things, but lately she was quiet. I hadn't heard from her. Elizabeth looked serious as she began to tell her story. She believed I could help with something very important. "There is a hidden group of people," she said. "They know big secrets about the world." Elizabeth found out she has a special part in a big event that happens only every 100 years. As Elizabeth talked, the tapping sound got louder. It felt like someone or something wanted us to hurry. Elizabeth's eyes were full of worry and hope. She really wanted me to understand and help. "This hidden group," Elizabeth explained, "they watch over special knowledge. This knowledge can change the world. And now, something big is about to happen." She paused, looking at me closely. "You're a part of this too," she said softly. I felt surprised. "Me? How can I be part of something so big?" I asked. Elizabeth smiled a little. "I don't know all the answers," she said, "but I know we're both needed." The tapping continued, making us both feel uneasy. "We need to be ready," Elizabeth said. "This big event is coming soon. It's a time when the stars and the earth line up in a special way. And I found out that when this happens, we can make a big change." I listened, trying to understand. It was a lot to take in. "But what can we do?" I asked. Elizabeth took a deep breath. "We need to find a special place," she said. "It's where we can use the secret knowledge. We can make things better for everyone." The idea of changing the world was scary but also exciting. "But Elizabeth," I said, "how will we know what to do?" She looked at me, her eyes serious but also kind. "Together we'll figure it out," she said. "We have to try." The tapping sound was like a reminder that we didn't have much time. "We need to start soon," Elizabeth said. "This big event won't wait for us." I nodded, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. "Okay," I said. "I'll help. What's the first step?" Elizabeth looked relieved. First, we need to learn more about the special place, she said. I have some books that can help. We decided to start reading and looking for clues the next day. As we talked, the storm outside seemed to calm down. Maybe it was a sign that we were doing the right thing, or maybe it was just the weather changing. But sitting there with Elizabeth, talking about secret knowledge and big events, I felt like I was part of something much bigger than myself. We can do this, Elizabeth said, smiling more confidently now. Together, we'll find the way. I smiled back, feeling ready for the adventure ahead. We had a lot to learn and do, but with Elizabeth's knowledge and my willingness to help, I believed we could make a difference. The night became a blur of stories and secrets. Elizabeth spoke of things I had never imagined. As the sky started to get lighter, signaling dawn, she did something unexpected. She gave me a small, old-looking object. "This is very important," she said with a serious look. "It's the key to everything I've told you." I held the object carefully, feeling its weight. It was strange and beautiful. "What does it do?" I asked, full of wonder. Elizabeth smiled, but her eyes were sad. "It will help you see the truth and maybe stop the bad things from happening," she explained. We stood there looking at each other. I knew I had to leave soon, but it was hard to say goodbye. "Take care of this," Elizabeth said, "and remember everything I told you." I nodded, unable to speak. My heart felt heavy with the big job I now had. As I got ready to leave, Elizabeth hugged me. "Be brave," she whispered. "We can change the future." I hugged her back, feeling a mix of fear and courage. "I'll do my best," I promised. Leaving Elizabeth's mansion was hard. I walked out into the early morning, the first light making everything look fresh and new. But for me, everything had changed. I looked back at the mansion, thinking about Elizabeth and the big secrets she had shared. The quiet streets of San Francisco felt different as I walked. The mysterious object in my pocket was a constant reminder of the promise I made. I thought about the future and what I needed to do. It felt like a big adventure was starting, but also a big challenge. As the sun rose higher, I felt a mix of hope and worry. Can I really do this? I asked myself. But then I remembered Elizabeth's trust in me. It gave me strength. I have to try, I said out loud, feeling more sure. The city was waking up as I made my way through the streets. People were starting their day, unaware of the big story I was now part of. I felt alone with my secret, but also special. I had a purpose, something big to do. When I finally stopped to rest, the sun was fully up. The day ahead seemed long and full of possibilities. I took a deep breath, feeling ready to face whatever came. I had Elizabeth's wisdom and the mysterious artifact. Together, they would guide me. I looked at the bright sky, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. But mostly, I felt determined. I will find a way to use this knowledge, I thought. For Elizabeth, for everyone. It was the start of a new day and a new journey for me. Days after leaving Elizabeth's mansion, I received a letter that changed everything. Elizabeth, my dear friend who had opened my eyes to a world of hidden truths, had passed away. The letter didn't say how, but I felt it wasn't by chance. It said she left something for me, her legacy. Along with the mysterious artifact and her secrets, it was now up to me to continue her quest. I remember sitting down, the letter in my hands, feeling lost. The quiet of my room was filled with memories of our last night together, her stories, the tapping, and the way she looked when she handed me the artifact. "You must go on without me," she seemed to be saying through the words of the letter. It was a heavy load to carry, but I knew I had to do it, for Elizabeth. With a heart full of sorrow and determination, I began to plan my journey. Elizabeth believed in fate and the power of our bond. She trusted me with a mission that felt bigger than anything I'd ever faced. I had to uncover the truth behind the artifact, to understand why she left it to me, and what she hoped I would find. The first steps were the hardest. Where do I begin? How do I follow in Elizabeth's footsteps? The artifact, old and full of symbols I barely understood, was my only clue. I spent nights poring over books, trying to decode its secrets. Elizabeth's notes became my guide, her handwriting a comfort in my loneliest hours. "I'm doing this for you, Elizabeth," I whispered to the silent room, hoping somehow she could hear me. The quest took me to places I never imagined: hidden libraries, secret societies, and ancient sites where the air itself seemed to whisper old secrets. Each step revealed more of the puzzle, drawing me deeper into the unknown. The journey wasn't just about solving a mystery. It was about honoring a friendship that had shown me the strength within me. Elizabeth believed we could change the world, one secret at a time. Her faith in me, in us, pushed me forward, even when fear and doubt clouded my way. As I traveled, I met others who had felt the touch of the unknown. They shared their stories, adding pieces to the puzzle. Elizabeth's legacy wasn't just about the artifact or the secrets it held. It was about connecting with others, sharing our fears and hopes, and finding strength in the bonds we form. In every corner of the world, in every shadowed room where secrets lay hidden, I felt Elizabeth with me. Her spirit guided me, her belief in the power of fate and friendship a beacon in my darkest moments. Her legacy became my quest, not just to uncover the truth she sought, but to keep her memory alive in the stories we shared, in the friendships we forged. Elizabeth showed me a world beyond the known, and in doing so, she gave me a purpose greater than I ever imagined. As I stood at the threshold of another mystery, another unknown, I carried her legacy with me. It was a burden, yes, but also a gift. Elizabeth's belief in me, in the power of the unknown and the strength of our bond, lit my way. And I knew, as long as I held on to that, I'd never be truly alone. After many months of searching and learning, I progressed further along in the journey until finally I actually found the last clue. The artifact, which was a very old and special thing, showed me the way. It was like a friend helping me on my journey. I traveled to a very old place, where the sky is clear and you can see all the stars. Here, I understood what Elizabeth wanted me to do. She wanted me to see how everything in the world is connected, like a big family. In this place under the stars, I did what the artifact showed me. I held it up to the sky at night. Suddenly, it shone brightly, like a small sun. I felt happy and a little scared, but I remembered Elizabeth's words. She said we could change the future for the better. When the light from the artifact touched the stars, something wonderful happened. The sky changed, showing new patterns of stars. It was like the artifact was talking to the stars, and the stars were answering. I knew then what I had to do. I had to share this knowledge with others, just like Elizabeth shared it with me. This wasn't a secret to keep, but a gift to give to the world. It was about hope, love, and the future. I went back home, feeling different. I wasn't just a person who had a cafe anymore. I was a keeper of a very important secret. But it was a secret that needed to be shared to help everyone understand how special our world is. I started by telling my friends about my adventure. At first, they didn't believe me, but when I showed them the artifact and told them about the stars and the ancient place, they listened. Together, we decided to teach others about these secrets. We talked to people, wrote a book, and even made a small movie. Slowly, more and more people began to understand and believe. Elizabeth's gift, the artifact, didn't just change me. It started to change the world, little by little. People became kinder and more hopeful. They started to see how we are all connected, just like the stars in the sky. In the end, Elizabeth's dream came true. She believed in the power of fate and friendship, and she was right. Because of her, we learned to look at the stars and dream of a better future. And I, her friend, got to help make that dream real. That's the end of my story. It's about an adventure, a mystery, and a very special friendship. It shows us that we can all make a difference, just like Elizabeth and the magical artifact. This story outline, designed for an A1 basic English level audience, maintains a focus on simple language while delivering a narrative rich in suspense, emotion, and mystique, revolving around a female protagonist's encounter with her old friend's mysterious world and the legacy she inherits. This story and its narration are provided by English Made Easy, learned through stories. Copying or re-uploading is strictly prohibited.